Alrighty, we are back in streaming. Okay. Alright. We are streaming. And there was at least a tornado warning. So let me edit the title real quick. Okay. So we do have let's see. We no longer have that one tornado warning, so that's gonna get edited as well. Anyways. So if you are watching, then type hi in the chat. I said, if you are watching, type hi in the chat. If you are watching, type hi in the chat. Oh, there is someone watching, alright. Okay. So, since there is somebody watching, I guess I'll continue with my severe coverage. There is 3 severe thunderstorm warnings, so let me update that count real quick. If you will have a little patience with me real quick. Okay. So now it shows only 3, and there is a special weather statement, as you can see. So let's see. Behind that line there is a dense fog advisory as that front moves through. Now there is still a warm front, which would bring plenty of substantial moisture to these southern areas. Now we did have a tornado warning, that is why I went live. So if we take a look at these line of storms, let's see. Let's take a look at the velocity here. Now it's a little bit cluttered from all the warnings here, but as you can see, there are sectors in here with winds upwards of 60 miles an hour. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me pull this up real quick. Okay. Let me figure this out real quick. Something going on here. Huh. That's weird. I'm usually able to let's see, I'm usually able to use the on-screen pin there. But I guess we'll just have to use the one on here then, on Weatherwise. So there is a one on Weatherwise here. Let's see, draw. That's it. Yeah. Okay. So, I'm good now. Okay, yeah, that works. Let's unlock it here. Now, as you can see, so when we turn it back on the velocity indicator, anyways, as I was saying, we do have these sectors here of strong straight line winds. All the way, what is going on? I'm confused. Anyways, we do have that strong wind segment there. And we just had a tornado warning not long ago, actually. I'm not exactly sure why it's not letting me erase that, but whatever. Okay, there we go. So we have this strong line of storms here. It is moving off to the northeast, as you can see the storm tracks there. Let's take a closer look here at let's take a closer look at some of these storms here now. I do see a slight bit of rotation in here. It's nothing that's that much concerning as of right now, but it could develop into something more as the night moves on. Hopefully it doesn't, but we do have the wind going like this though, unfortunately, so that is something we're going to have to keep an eye on here. Now, as we look further north here, let us take a look at the regular reflectivity. And as you can see, we do have this line of storms here. And it is a very strong line of storms, a severe line of storms. However, behind the line, we do have a special weather statement. And that is for windy conditions behind the rainfall of up to 40 miles an hour. So definitely an impactful system. And taking a look further east, let's just turn on the composite radar. So conditions around the nation. Now this line does extend all the way up into Kentucky, but the thing is, up in the north here, conditions should not at least be severe up further north. So let's continue focusing on these more southern areas. And as you can see, Mansfield and Huxley and Converse and Pleasant Hill, Noblesville, and many, and those are in Louisiana. Some of them are in Texas. It's right on the border. As you can see, this line of storms do have storms developing out ahead of this line. And as we let's focus on this storm in Mississippi now. These types of discrete cells out ahead of the line, these specific types of discrete cells with this elongated nature, yet not too elongated that it would become a line. You see how it is? It's like where the tail end is elongated there. Those are the kinds of storms you're going to have to watch out for in these areas as they did expand the tornado watch east. Now, if we take a look at the velocity, let's take a look at the velocity. It goes far enough. If we take a look at the velocity here, you can see that we do have a variety of directions of the wind, but nothing too concerning because it's not strong. We do have some of this going on. This would be away from the radar, or this way. This would be towards the radar is the green, because the radar is off to the west here. And as these differences in wind, if they were more strong, I would be more concerned with this storm. And but I'm not that concerned with this storm right now. I mean, we'll have to watch as it develops. This one looks more concerning though, because we do have somewhat. I say somewhat because it's not like complete, but we do have somewhat of an inflow notch, but nothing too concerning. We do have this shape of a storm, which is a little bit concerning, but like I said, it's not warned right now. If we take a look at the velocity on it, we can really get a good idea of what's going on here. Now, we do have a little bit of wind going towards the radar here, and then we have strong winds going away from the radar. So if we did have a tornado on this storm, this area would be the spot to watch. So if we go back to the reflectivity, yeah, definitely, that would be the spot to watch. Let's take a look at the correlation coefficient on this storm. We do have some small hail embedded in this storm. Those are the areas to watch for hail. If you just want to see the regular reflectivity here, here it is, and we do have some heavier rainfall in this storm as well as some lightning. Now this storm is getting more organized by every single scan, and so this is something we're gonna have to watch for. So there's definitely I won't say definitely, but more than likely there is not a tornado on this storm right now. We're going to continue to watch that. And then we do have these cells down to the south here, some of them being more robust than others. We do have these small storms, yet they're going to be something to watch as they develop and move off to the northeast. Now we also do have to watch out for the other storms, not just that one, more than that one. Let's take a look at the total count right now. There's 3 severe thunderstorm warnings. And as this line moves off to the east, it is looking more severe. And let's take a look at the velocity on this. This is a very intense storm right now. You need to be taking cover if you're in areas like Zwol, Noble, and Converse. You need to be ready to get in a sturdy place, not necessarily a tornado shelter, just in your house, because this is a very intense storm and it is moving off to the east fairly quickly. As you can see with these storm tracks, this one is moving off to this way, and then this sector of the storm is moving off this way. So just something to keep an eye on. Definitely severe storms going on here right now. And even this one, this is a very intense storm. Mind you, this is higher in the atmosphere because it's further from the radar. But it's still something to keep an eye on because there's really high winds up in the system, up in the storm. And that one is right on the boundary here. So this is one to watch here for sure. If you're watching the stream, just say hi in the chat or something to let me know you're watching. It'll really help out the stream, and like the stream to help push it out to people who really need to hear this. Let's take a look at the radar site here near Galveston. Let's take a look at the reflectivity. We do have some discrete cells. Some of these will be stronger than others, obviously. Now we do have this one. This is something to watch as it moves off because it's kind of developing into its own line segment here. This will be something to watch for extreme wind. This will definitely be something to watch for extreme wind. If we take a look at the velocity here, by the way, if you're watching this, just say hi in chat and to let me know you're watching. Anyways, we do see some more intense wind, not the worst wind I've ever seen. I wouldn't say it's severe level, but it's definitely worthy of a special weather statement. Let's see. This is also just ahead of the boundary here. We do have this, let me switch to blue for the cold front. We do have this boundary here that's set up, and then over the top of that, we do have this warm front. So we kind of had the classic cold front, warm front set up, and what's causing this is all the moisture surging up northward under the cold front here. Definitely very hot and humid under this cold front, which is providing a prime environment for the storms to develop. So let's see. Let's take a look at the reflectivity once again, and we do have a special weather statement. Definitely looks like there's hail on the storm. I bet you if I turn on correlation coefficient, the hail would be right in here. So let's do that. And it indeed is, you can see a slight bit of hail in here, the ununiform precipitation. So if we take a look at this, yep, half-inch size hail. And also some stronger winds. So let's take a look at the velocity on this storm. Nothing too much. Definitely some strong winds. Something to keep an eye on as this storm develops, and hopefully no more tornado warnings come out of this whole severe weather outbreak. But we do definitely still need to keep an eye on everything and make sure everything's going good. So, yeah. Let me just keep monitoring this system. Something I haven't done yet is look at the correlation coefficient for this line to see if there is any hail within this line, and it doesn't look like there's too much until you get to the further north parts of it. If you turn on reflectivity, you will see that in these areas there could be some hail embedded in these storms up here near Homer, but that's because there's cooler conditions in what's down there, but and what's down here. Let's see, I'm kind of concerned with this part of the line, as you can see. Now the reason I am is because it has these kind of blips forming outside the line, and these can allow inflow notches to easily form and form tornadoes and severe storms. These kind of things, these cleared out notches in this area. And even embedded right here, okay, that storm is moving very fast. Definitely a sign of severe weather, or a severe storm moving fast. Not necessarily means it is, but it's a sign of it. It has severe wind on it. Now, as you can see, we do have these cleared out notches, more rain-free areas. And if these rain-free areas can get a hold of this wind and wrap it around, then it can become some spin-up tornadoes. This area doesn't look too concerning, just something to keep an eye on. And what I'm mostly concerned about is the straight line winds here. As you can see, we have a bowing segment of this storm that's allowing this wind is blowing the rain forward. That's why you see a bowing segment. That's how strong and powerful the wind is right now. Let's take a look at the velocity once again after that new scan came in, and it is definitely very interesting to say the least. We do have some strong wind, and then we also have rain heading toward the radar, but then we also have wind heading away from the radar. Let's take a look here at the reflectivity. So there is a little bit of friction, so we could have some wind heading this way and some wind heading this way and create some friction. So I would definitely be on the lookout for spin-up tornadoes if you're in these areas right now. For Noble and Converse, let's see, what state is this in? Noble and Converse, Louisiana. Those areas, be aware of spin-up tornadoes, because this is definitely looking like a boundary for friction. Definitely something to keep an eye on, and we do have a lot of friction spots developing along this line. Hopefully nothing comes out of it, but even if it doesn't, we will inevitably face strong winds in this area. So, moving along, let's take a look at the more northern storms. I haven't paid attention to them that much. Definitely do have some strong wind closer to the ground level here, and we also do have some wind heading away from the radar. Now, this is not gonna be like I wouldn't say it's gonna be definitely tornadoes, but it's potential for tornadoes because we have the wind heading toward the radar site. Then we have the wind heading away from the radar site, so What I would say is let us look at the precipitation overlay. Okay, so we have some wind heading toward the radar site out ahead of it, and then this is the line, and it's heading away from the radar site here. And as it moves away from the radar site and meets with the wind heading towards it, we do get some friction here, and this could potentially create some spin-up tornadoes as the line moves off to the south and east. Now let's take a look at the new severe thunderstorm warning just issued. So this was just issued. Expires in an hour. An inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. This is definitely an intense storm. As you can see, we do have very strong winds associated with this storm. And then we also do have some wind heading toward the radar site and away from the radar site. Once again, there is friction along this line here. If we take a look at the correlation coefficient, we definitely do see some spots of hail involved in this system as it moves off to the east. So let's do something here. Let's check. And there is 4 severe thunderstorm warnings. So if you will be patient for me for a second, and I will update the counter up to 4. All right, there we go. It is updated. Okay, it is updated. So now we have 4 severe thunderstorm warnings. And I would say, some of these warnings will expire soon. So I would say, this one expires in 3 minutes. I would say some of you should be good if you're in the one expiring in a few minutes, but still keep an eye on the weather, definitely. So let's take a look at this radar site here. Hold on. Let me get settled here. My back's starting to hurt, but anyways, if you take a look at this radar site here, then you will see that this storm is pretty intense. It has this, you could see a very defined front, and it's not very it's not a messy storm system, it's organized. And if we take a look at the velocity here, then you can see we do have some very intense winds, probably at ground level as well. This is higher up in the atmosphere because it is far away from the radar site. But as it moves off to the north and east, it will either weaken or continue to strengthen, but this one is looking stronger though, because this one is right on the boundary as well as right near the low pressure system, which what the low pressure system does is it'll cause lift because low pressure, here let me get a demonstration here for you. The low pressure system will allow for air to rise, and it will, when the air rises, it will create more storms and strengthen the existing ones. So that's what's going on here, and I believe they did just extend the tornado watch while I was talking there. Yeah, they did, and it expires in 4 more hours. So I believe this area is in Central Time, so it'll expire at around 12:44 a.m. Central Time. As you can see, I'm also in Central Time. And then let's take a look at back up here, and you can see we continue to have this bowing segment of the line here. Definitely an intense portion, moving towards the radar site, so the wind's moving this way, and then we do have some wind moving away from the radar site. Again, friction. Hopefully nothing happens with that friction, but it's definitely a potential. So let's see. If you live in Pleasant Hill and Converse and Noble and Swole in Louisiana, definitely be just weather aware, because Spin up tornadoes happen quickly, and if you do get a tornado warning, you will have to act really fast. Like really fast. So just be definitely aware. And now let's check back up on these discrete cells back to the south. And we did just actually get a new severe thunderstorm warning issued. This will expire in 15 minutes. Wait, is that new or is it? Okay, it's not new. It's just saying it's expiring in 15 minutes. But we did get this new thing expiring in 30 minutes, this new special weather statement. So let's take a look at this storm. I'm trying to decide which this one is better because it's closer, I would say. And then let's take a look at the velocity on it. Oh yeah, it's definitely producing some strong winds. As you can see here, it's moving off to the northeast. Watching from Lake Charles, Louisiana. Keep up the good work, bro. I'm gonna keep the eye on the weather tonight. Okay, thank you for watching this stream. Here, if you want me to, I can look at the Lake Charles for you real quick. Lake Charles is not in the tornado watch, but definitely keep an eye on the weather. As you can see, this storm is off to the west of you. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I know Lake Charles is in the outlook. Let's look at the tornado risk here. Yeah, Lake Charles is in the 5% risk, though, here. So definitely keep an eye on the weather. You may not get hit till later on tonight, but you may still get hit. It'll just depend. We look at the categorical outlook. You're in the slight risk as well, so hopefully nothing happens in Lake Charles. Oh, you're welcome. Hopefully nothing happens in Lake Charles. By the way, thank you for joining the stream. But hopefully nothing happens in Lake Charles anyways, because you're not in the watch right now, but there is a potential. So, definitely a potential, as it is south of the warm front. Let's see. Let's take a look further north. I'm not sure if they've updated anything up here yet. There is only 3 severe thunderstorm warnings now. If you would just hold with me, let me do something really quickly. I just gotta update the severe warning count. I'm trying to keep that updated as much as possible. There we go. Well, by the way, thank you for joining the stream, though. We do have some severe warning, not severe warning, a special weather statement in Grenada, Mississippi. This is a very weird shaped thing. Warning, I've never seen some special weather statement shaped like that before. I think it's just counties, the county border, though. Yeah, nothing too severe up there, so let's go back down to the Louisiana, Texas area where there's severe warnings. Off the coast of New Orleans right now, there's a bunch of warnings going off, a small craft advisory. But as we can see, let's see, this is the Simpson radar site, I believe. This line of storms here going off to the east. I don't know why sometimes the thing glitches out, but severe thunderstorm warnings all along this line. I wonder how, let's see, I believe I can measure how long this line is, I think I can figure out some way, measure it or something. Yeah, there's a measure thing. All the way from here to the end of the line. Let's see. So this is about, so as I'm measuring this line here, it's about 136 miles, 142 miles, somewhere in there long. That's how long the line is. So as the night progresses, it's obviously going to continue to progress east, and I hope everyone who's watching this live stream stays safe and stay weather aware. So this severe weather, the severe thunderstorm warnings are still continuing for this area. Not a lot, not much more to discuss. There's actually a really a lower count of severe thunderstorm warnings than I thought there was going to be. But that's a good thing, I guess, because that means less severe storms. So let's look at the velocity radar again. Still very intense. Still a very, very intense storm. Excuse me. Still a very intense storm. As you can see, this wind probably around 65 miles per hour as it moves off to the east here. Very intense wind along this line. Now there is some, if we take a look at the reflectivity radar, there is some, but not many, but there is some little notches in the line here. As you can see, there's many notches in the line, like, well, I guess I should say some. But they're mainly concentrated around this area here. As well as, let's see, where was there? I know there was a, yeah, this area. It just moved off to the east here. I would say that, let's see, there's some areas that are in the outlook that are in the clear, alright? I would say that areas behind the line are clear for the severe thunderstorm risk, but there is a chance of non-thunderstorm wind gusts behind the line of up to 40 miles an hour. That would bring some pretty strong wind gusts, to say the least. And I do believe that this area right here is, if we did see a spin-up tornado, this would be the area to watch right here. I say that because of the clearing in the rain in here. And then as well as if we take a look at the velocity radar, I do believe that this would be the area because of the sharp contrast as it moves here and then this way. Now let's see if we can take a look at the has cams. Let's see. I know I can turn them on somehow. There it is. I'm gonna look. There is a has cam right here. All right. Let's see. Has cam. There it is. Okay. I'm not exactly sure what direction it's facing, but you can see the skyline in the distance. So credit to that has cam for this. Now, anyways, this storm system, there's not really a lot to discuss, so that's why I'm not really talking about much other than this line, because there's really not much else to discuss. Let's do a little check-in on the storms further to the south. The Lake Charles radar station here gives us a good view. What just happened? I think it just reset or something. Not exactly sure what happened. Let me reload the website. Okay, there we go. Something happened. I don't know what it was, but so anyways, we do have this storm structure here off near, let's see, this is in Texas, I believe, off near Sour Lake to the north of that. And if we look at the velocity radar, we can see that there is some strong winds, not too powerful, just some strong winds, and we also have some high lightning consistency there off to the northeast part of the storm. If we take a look at the correlation coefficient, we do have some hail, probably at most penny size or something like that. Not very large hail, not very big, but It's probably at the most penny size or half inch. That's what they're saying at the Weather Service. That's Let's take a look at this radar site here near Galveston and see if we can get a better look. Not really. I think the Lake Charles radar site is the best for this. Now, if we take a look at the correlation coefficient for this part of the line here, for the southern part of the line, not too much going on other than this beam up through here. I'm not exactly sure what that is. Let's take a look at the reflectivity. So, I'm starting to notice something here is that there's a very defined boundary between where it's raining and where it's not. I don't know that I've ever seen that before, but really heavy rain and then just like no rain at all. I don't know that I've seen that before. I'm not sure if I'm just noticing that or if that's just me that's never seen that before, but it's a little bit strange to me. By the way, feel free to ask any of your questions in the chat if you have any questions about anything that's going on, and I'll try my best to answer them. So let's take a look at the velocity radar. Okay, there's something going on here. I'm not exactly. You can't be ever 100% sure whenever you're taking a look at something as extreme as a tornado, but I'm pretty sure. Yep, there's a tornado warning. I literally called that one, but there's the tornado warning. I was looking for the spin up tornado. I'm not. You need to be taking shelter right now if you live in Pleasant Hill, Camp T, and Powhatan in Louisiana. I believe that is Louisiana. So a tornado warning did just get issued. I was looking at this for a tornado as soon as they said it, and I was eyeing this area for a little bit because of this little area right here, because you can kind of tell with the inflow knot. Hopefully everyone in this area stays safe. Get to shelter if you live in those areas that I just listed off. So the tornado warning includes areas like Pleasant Hill, once again, and Camp D. Those are the major areas, and if we zoom in, we can see some smaller towns, like Powhatan, and that's really it. And it should cross I-49, so be careful if you're driving on I-49, particularly near these areas I listed off. I'm not sure if anyone would be driving while watching a stream, but if you just so happen to be there. So I'm also going to update the tornado count now because there is a tornado warning. This will just take a quick second and then I'm going to get back. Here we go. And there we go. Okay. This tornado warning, hopefully nothing comes of it, but we do have to take it seriously as we do have this area of rotation here. Moving off to the north and to the east. I would not be surprised if they extended it, just because of the fact that it may move out really quickly, but there's two areas of friction. One is a main area of friction here within this area, and then here's the secondary area of friction, these two. So the radar site, I do believe, is down to the south that we're looking at. It is. And so the wind is going like this, and then probably actually something more like this. And then this wind is going into here. So this is creating rotation. So if you see the red, it's moving away from the radar site depending on where the radar is. For our case, it's down to the southeast of this image. And so that would mean that the green is heading towards the radar. So that tornado warning just went off there. So I don't believe it is. It's not confirmed, I don't believe. It is for southern DeSoto Parish in northwest Louisiana, northwestern, I don't know how to pronounce that, in northwestern Louisiana. tornado radar indicated rotation. So get to an interior room or the lowest floor of the building if you happen to live in these areas. I did honestly I was kind of expecting the weather service to do this, although I can't say that I fully predicted it. It's just something that I was keeping an eye on, but hopefully this area is safe because once again the wind going this way and the wind going this way will create rotation. I believe in the northern hemisphere it does go counterclockwise, so it would be like this. Now, there are rare cases where tornadoes can spin clockwise in the northern hemisphere, although it's just not common. So, now that tornado warning is issued, I'm probably going to stay live for longer now because of the tornado warning. So, just because of that fact, let's take a look at the more southern areas. Let's use the Lake Charles radar site. Didn't see anything too impressive on the velocity just there. Excuse me. Didn't see anything too impressive. By the way, feel free to ask any questions in chat. I know I said that, but I see new people have joined since then. But feel free to ask any questions in chat about the storms or if your area is going to be impacted. So, anyways, this storm is moving off to the north and to the east and the northeast. So, a special weather statement for areas like, let's see, there's no really cities or anything. Oh, Saratoga, Rattlesnake Bead, and Batson. Those are areas in Texas, southeastern Texas. But once again, we're going to be focusing on this storm more though, because just to the fact that it's tornado warned. Let's take a look at the velocity. Hopefully they've updated it by now. Hopefully the velocity signature has gone down, but if anything, it has not really gone down. So we still have this rotation in here. Potential tornado on the ground, not a definite tornado on the ground. Remember, tornado warning doesn't mean definitely, but you should treat it like there is a tornado on the ground, because tornado warnings are very serious. Obviously, tornadoes are very dangerous. Excuse me. Had to clear my throat. But aside from the tornado warning, we do have a very strong line of storms. I believe that they should extend this severe thunderstorm warning here to include areas like Pineland and Hempville and Broadus. I believe that they should extend the severe thunderstorm warning to include these areas in here, because it is still a very intense line here, very defined wind flow here. Let's see if I can actually they don't have any mesoscale discussions other than heavy rain mesoscale discussions right now, but this tornado on the ground, okay, it does, or not on the ground, I don't know why I said on the ground, a tornado warning. This tornado warning, the wind is still moving away from the radar site, but it is also weakening in the moving toward the radar site. So hopefully this rotation is weakening, because earlier it was very tight, but now it's more broad rotation, weaker rotation. Hopefully nothing comes of it, but you should still treat it like it is a tornado on the ground. But even though it's not a tornado on the ground, you should still treat it like one. So, let's see. Where should we go? Oh, they got a new scan. And it's looking very similar, but the rotation is broadening up. That may have been a spin-up tornado right there. We may have just had a spin-up tornado. Not exactly 100%, obviously. We can never know till they do the damage surveys and all that. But there is a potential that there is a tornado right now. as we have this rotation. So areas like Powhatan, Campty, um, Pleasant Hill. Pleasant Hill may be good, but still be in your shelters. Areas like that. And if they do decide to extend this, then it would go out to areas like Goldana, maybe even Calvin if it extends far south enough, but maybe not. Maybe areas like Saline and Ashland may be in this if they do extend this. So if we take a look at the counts here, there is only one severe thunderstorm warning. So let me update the severe thunderstorm count. It says 3 still, but there's really only one. So there's only one severe thunderstorm according to the Weather Service here in the entire system, but still continue to monitor this area because of the tornado warning. Although the rotation has weakened and broadened, it's a very broad area of rotation here. Still, tornadoes could happen along this line of friction, the friction zone. Okay, they just got the new scan in, and I don't see really much going on here. It was a lot more intense earlier, but this tornado warning has since weakened. And, let's see. Sorry if I'm zooming in and out too fast. I'm just trying to cover a lot of area because it's a very long line. Got something in my throat. So, this very big severe thunderstorm area. Now, there is a really intense area of wind, like very intense. This is something serious because this is probably up to 65 to 70 miles per hour right now down here. I wish they would extend the severe thunderstorm warning for these areas because this is the closest radar site. Let's take a look at the HAZ cams here. See, Mini Louisiana, and I believe the power, is that the power went out, or, oh no, that's a road cam. Okay, so as you can see, the lightning flashes in the background. Let's see. By the way, I'm using HazCam under fair use of the copyright because it's separate than Weatherwise, which I have permission to use Weatherwise by them. So you can see we had this line here, kind of a Boeing segment. We have this moving away from the radar, and then we have this moving toward the radar. Once again, this is an area to watch out for. Nothing too tight right now, very broad rotation. If we take a look back up here at the Pleasant Hill storm, it is starting to tighten back up though because we have more strong winds starting to get stronger, moving toward and away. So we are starting to see the couplet tighten up. See. I'm getting strong winds at my house right now. I don't live in Louisiana or any of the areas in a severe weather risk tonight. It's just strong winds because it's ahead of the front. But, or what? It's because it's ahead of the storms. There is actually storms at my house, but there's no severe risk. But anyways, as we continue to take a look at the areas further south, okay, they just issued a flood advisory. Flooding is actually a really major cause of killing in weather, so that's something to watch out for. It's probably higher up on the list than you would think. So I don't know if they're going to decide to extend this, but it is tightening up. And the lightning is getting more frequent, as you can see with all these scans on the radar. So going towards the radar, and then this is going towards the radar, and then this is going away from the radar. Definitely something interesting. And I'm going to say this again because I believe there is some new people joining the stream because I can see the viewer count and it's going up. If you do have any questions, just feel free to leave them in the chat and I will answer them for you as long as it's on topic with tonight's stream. or really anything on weather, because I believe we just had, what was that? I seen something. Okay, I think it was the storm track shifting. The storm track shifted further to the east. Now we do have a really intense area of wind, and I kind of wish they would extend this warning further south once again, because we have a really intense area of wind. There we go. They extended it further south. They extended the special weather statement further south. I wish it was a severe thunderstorm warning though, because this is a very intense line of wind. Potentially even hail embedded with this line. But wind is probably the main threat, as well as spin-up tornadoes like we are potentially seeing here, because there is a tornado warning. So once again, here's the line of friction in this new scan. As you can see, the rotation. Anyways, let's see. Let's take a look. Let's do another checkup on the storm to the further south. Oops, I went too far south. Lake Charles here, the radar site. Again, nothing much happening in Lake Charles, because I know there is someone watching from Lake Charles, but not right now. Maybe later on, just keep an eye on it. As you can see, some stronger wind. Not the strongest wind, but still something to keep an eye on. As we had this storm, definitely they should expand it further to the north because of this cell right here. If we take a look at the velocity on it, it is pretty strong, and then the correlation coefficient, we could have some hail in there. Anyways, they don't have any current mesoscale discussions except for the heavy rain. Okay, this is something to keep an eye on now though, because look at this here. We do kind of have a little bit of a inflow notch here. Hopefully nothing comes of it. Once again, hopefully nothing comes of anything tonight, but you just can't really rule it out completely. It doesn't look like much is happening there, maybe a slight bit of friction, but I don't believe that would be enough to cause a tornado. And they did get the new scan in, and it's starting to tighten up again, and they did decide to, I think they kind of expanded it a little. No, they didn't expand it, they just updated it. So, again, if you're still watching in the chat, please say something in the chat so I'll know you're still there. As you continue to watch this system, we will continue to monitor it. Again, the line of friction, I keep saying this, that the friction here can cause spin-up tornadoes anywhere along this line. And also very strong winds. Even if there is no tornado, there could be some strong winds with this system. And the tornado warning continues to move off to the northeast. We do have quite a bit of lightning with this storm, something interesting to point out. I just had something hit my window. I have no idea what that was. That scared me. It just crossed Interstate 49, the actual area. But I'm pretty sure whatever hit my window was something from the high winds, because it's like 16 mile an hour gust right now. But anyways, talking about the tornado warning, we do have some more lightning. Let's see. Nobody's asking questions in the chat. I mean, that's fine. So, let's see. I mean, feel free to ask questions if you want. I don't really care as long as it's weather related. Waiting for the new radar scan to come in. Not exactly sure how frequently. I believe you can see, I wonder if I can tilt it a little higher in the storm. So let's tilt it at 0.9 degrees. definitely somewhat of a mesocyclone on this thing, some mid-level rotation, or somewhat of a mesocyclone, not a fully developed one. Definitely just something to keep an eye on. Let's see, if we go to the highest parts of the storm, we definitely have. Do you think the tornado watch will shift east tonight? I definitely think that it could shift east. It has a potential to. Nothing definite, but it could. I'm not sure if it'll shift down to the Lake Charles area, but it could shift east for this area because the Lake Charles area and those areas down there isn't seeing much action, which is obviously a good thing because that means less people will be impacted by severe weather. But if we look at the highest levels of the storm, that means, so we do have some rotation at the highest levels of the storm. I do believe this is 3.5 degrees, I think, 3.2 degree tilt. Let's take it back down to the 0.5. So if the tornado watch does shift east tonight, I would expect it to look something like this. Let me draw. If the tornado watch does shift east, I would expect the counties in here to be included and potentially some counties in here. I don't know. This is like a question mark. That's why I'm drawing it dotted line if it's gonna shift to the Lake Charles area. Hopefully it does not shift eastward, but there's more instability. There's more instability out ahead of this line. In the 70s degrees, mid 70s, upper 60s. So that instability is what's going to keep these storms going, potentially all the way into the overnight hours. We still can see this area of rotation is starting to broaden out more, but you can never say for certain, obviously. But it does look like it's starting to weaken, but it still could be on the ground, obviously. So, this warm front here is going to be something to definitely keep an eye on. Now, the reason I say that is because obviously underneath the warm front here, you've got mid 70s, upper 70s. If we take a look at these storms underneath the warm front once again, underneath the warm front, not really much other than these discrete cells. Obviously, we're going to have to watch for the development of these cells as they move off either to the east or to the north and east. More than likely, they're going to move to the north and east. So, if Lake Charles did get hit, it would be from some of, more than likely, it would be from some of these storms down here because of the northeastwardly motion. But hopefully nothing happens once again. I know I keep saying that, but let's see if we can get a good reading from here. No, definitely not. This is a better radar site. Let's see. Once again, credit that has cams for this because it's separately owned, but you can see somewhat of a shelf cloud. I'm not exactly sure if that is a shelf cloud, but it kind of looks like it. Maybe that's just the way the light's hitting it. But I would not be surprised if there is a shelf cloud with this. Again, any questions welcome that are weather related. Let's see. The tornado warning is starting to pick up more friction now on this scan because of the fact that we do have this, and then we have this. So, and then we also have this. So, I definitely keep an eye on this. Continue to monitor it. Now, we do have these areas of flooding. So, flooding is actually a really big thing in weather that it's a really big killer. So, logging off now. Thanks again. Heads up. Hopefully it doesn't get too bad out there. Yeah, hopefully it does not. And thank you for joining the stream. Hopefully that the Lake Charles area is safe tonight. I'll continue to monitor that. So please like this stream to get it out to more people. Let's see. Um, I'm not seeing too much more going on. They did lift the tornado warning, okay? They did let that expire. There's only one severe thunderstorm warning now. So, I guess they saw that the rotation had broadened out enough, but still something to keep an eye on. Let's take the tornado warning down off my counter here. That's good. There we go. Let's see. This front is really what's going to keep these storms going. This low pressure system in the front, I would say. Because with this low pressure system, we have the warm front. That's obviously not where the warm front is. You can see where it is. The warm front there. And if that continues to lift off to the north, and like I said, if it does, then that would obviously allow for storms in this area to continue to develop and take off. Hopefully that does not happen, because then that would kind of make these storms severe again, and as they move off to the east and northeast as well. You know, something weird I've noticed is we have today in the severe weather coverage, we've had an unusually high amount of people join my stream. I don't know if that's because I improved the quality of the stream, or if that's just because of today's being a severe weather, or if that's just because I have more subscribers now than I used to. I'm not exactly sure, but definitely had more than past streams where I used to only get like 3 people join. Now I've had 14 in my last stream. Probably had quite a few people in this stream. I think that the stats 8 views, yeah, quite a few more, but something interesting is we have this low pressure system near Memphis, and that's pretty interesting. And what's really interesting about it is how we have this high pressure system right near it. Hopefully this high pressure system continues to help mitigate storms in this area as it pushes the air downward. If we take a look at the radar site here, storms are not like, I guess I should say the storms here are not being mitigated by this high pressure system, other than the fact that it's just not really severe. So hopefully the high pressure system continues to prevent these storms from gaining intensity. And we do have a new mesoscale discussion just in. Let's read this mesoscale discussion together here. Low amplitude shortwave trough approaching in the lower Sabine River Valley per past for latest water vapor imagery. In response to this feature, a squall line has matured over the last few hours from St. Augustine County, Bienville Parish, Louisiana. So this linear MCS is expected to advance across northern and central Louisiana, likely spreading into portions of western Mississippi. As the warm front gradually lifts north, there is some concern activity remain organized as it exits the core. Okay, there you go. So there is some concern among the forecasters here that as the warm front lifts to the north, that it's going to continue to allow storms to fire off, and that as those storms fire off and move towards the east, that it'll continue to remain organized. So there is some concern among the forecasters about that. I'm not exactly sure, but you can see how just north of this warm front here, there's same temperatures. Not exactly sure if the warm front has already started lifting off to the north or not. Let's take a look at the weather models on here. let's see what it shows. So let's see. HRRR. Let me move around real quick. My back is getting sore from streaming so long. Let's see. How do I advance the... Okay, there we go. So it does look like Lake Charles area. Let's notice that because I know there's... Doesn't look like it's gonna get hit too bad. Oh, we do have a tornado warning. New tornado warning issued. Radar indicated tornado. So let's get back to the radar really quickly. Wait, yeah, there was just a tornado warning there, was there not? What? What just happened? There was literally a tornado right there. Just... Huh. Did I make that up, or is there actually a tornado warning there? I'm not sure. Was I just seeing things or something? Because I'm fairly certain I just saw that. I don't know. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, there's nothing there to issue a tornado warning for. Maybe I'm just seeing things. I probably mistook the mesoscale discussion and I clicked on it and I saw radar indicated right there. That's probably what made me think that there was a tornado warning. Okay. Guys, I don't think there is anything like much going on other than this severe thunderstorm warning. And this severe thunderstorm warning is set to expire soon, so I may stop streaming soon. How long have I been streaming for? Like an hour and 13 minutes now? Huh. That's weird. So, if you're still there, then type something in the chat or something. If you're still there, type something in the chat, anything, or leave this stream a like so it gets pushed out to the people that it needs to be seen by. Because there is severe weather going on in Louisiana right now. Obviously, we have the tornado watch. So say something in the chat, because I see someone is watching the stream. So actually, yeah, I know someone's watching the stream. So I guess you don't have to say anything in the chat, but really any weather questions welcome. You can ask any questions. Feel free. I'll answer them. So what we do know is that there is a severe thunderstorm warning. Not exactly sure. I mean, we did have a tornado warning at one point. It wasn't on the ground that we know of. The rotation is kind of calming down. We did see that rotation near Campty there earlier. It's still some rotation there, but it's definitely weakened to the point that it's not tornado warning worthy anymore. Now, if we lose all these severe warnings, then I'm going to probably call the stream because, there's no point in me streaming if there's nothing to cover. So you can see the inflow and everything like that into this storm. It's a pretty intense storm, not as intense as it was earlier. We did see some way more intense storms earlier that actually had tornado warnings on them. Now, if we look at the regular reflectivity, we do see some small storms developing near the Lake Charles area. We see this line of storms developing near Kinder and Oberlin. Let's see. So the severe thunderstorm warning for Louisiana still does continue as we have this mesoscale discussion as the storms move off to the north and to the east. Let's see. I believe we did get a new radar scan in as the storms move off. So we do have a HazCam credit to them for this because they're separate than Weatherwise. But the HazCam is definitely not showing too much. It's right on the edge right now, and as it moves along, we will have some more intense winds over the HazCam. But as of now, there's nothing right now too intense over the area. We can have ground confirmation or something, which is the camera, which we obviously don't see that intense wind currently over those areas. We still have the tornado watch for a conducive environment over southeastern Texas. Now, if you're watching the stream right now, say something in chat. Feel free to ask questions. Let me know that someone's watching, and so that I can keep doing the stream. But as these move off to the north and to the east, these storms could intensify, especially with all this rich Gulf moisture moving off to the north as this warm front lifts. And as you can see, the warm front is starting to lift off further to the north than it was earlier. Now, we do have a special weather statement for portions of Louisiana here near Many and Zwol, as well as, any other areas in here, Noble, those areas. So this southern tag here, or I don't know what it's called, tag, like whatever, it's like hanging off here. That's gonna be something to watch out for tornadic development, but not right now because there's no real friction going on right there. See, it's quite a long line actually, but it's not as organized as earlier. I don't know if we can go back or not, but yeah, we can go back here. Let's look at this. When it was back earlier, there was tornado warnings and all that. So if we take this to the how it was back at, that would be what, 9:09 p.m. So about 30 minutes ago, it had the tornado warning. Remember, I don't know if any of y'all remembered that, but if y'all were on the stream or not whenever that happened, but the tornado warning, and we had this very defined line here. But as it moved on to the current time, it's starting to get less organized, I would say. So the severe weather threat is starting to diminish, but don't let your guard down just yet. Now, the reason I say that is because this warm front will continue to lift off to the north and to the east. And as it does that, the warmth will start to feed the storms if it hasn't already. And as you can see, there's still plentiful moisture and as well as temperature here. So if we take a look at these here, let's see if we can select the dew point. and it's near 100% humidity, 70s and 60s dew points. Definitely, what do you call it? Definitely sufficient moisture, like very sufficient moisture for storm development, as well as severe storm development. That's not ruled out yet. I don't know if they have redone the outlook yet. It doesn't look like they have, but when they do redo the outlook, I wouldn't be surprised if they shifted the slight risk to only include these areas that are currently in it as these storms move off to the north and the east, and the marginal risk to include like these areas, because this is, I wouldn't say it's a bust, because if it was a bust then we wouldn't see those tornado warnings and all that. So this line is starting to look unorganized to me. Let's take a look at the HRRR. Well, actually, that's kind of behind a little bit. Let's see if we can get something here. The echo tops, yeah. That's fairly high in the storm there. You can't really get readings on this, but these storms are starting to diminish though, and with that, so goes the severe weather threat. Let me update something real quick. Let's update the severe warning count. And let's hide those right now because there is no severe warnings. Well, actually, let's leave them like that just in case some severe warning does happen. But the storms are starting to diminish with the severe weather threat. So if you are still watching the stream, please say something in the chat, or leave a like on it, or whatever. Just like do something to let me know someone is watching. Okay, I do see someone is watching. They just sent the emojis thing, but okay, so someone is watching. I'm thankful for that. This new scan isn't making the line look any stronger, because this has cam credit to them once again, but this line, 7-mile-an-hour winds, that doesn't, that's not very intense, but there is intense lightning. Continue to monitor for intense winds. Look at the skyline there. It's some lightning going off there. 3-mile-an-hour winds. This is an area in the special weather statement for 50-mile-an-hour winds, so it's very close to severe standards at 58 miles per hour. And as we see the splitting of the radar here, and what I mean by that is the radar site, the area that the radar site is at, right there. So if we just drew a line straight up, this is where it's going to start to turn into the red when the wind is blowing this way. So there is so I wouldn't say there's not much rotation in this storm anymore. There's actually barely any. There is some friction, but now also some of that may just be due to the radar switching over to showing it on this side. Now, let's see. I'm not seeing that much. Let's take a look at the HazCam down here. 6-mile-an-hour winds. It's very dark there. I don't know if is there any lightning flashes. Okay, well, there's lightning flashes on radar here, so on displayed here. Whew. My back is hurting from. I just gotta stretch real quick. But anyways, okay, I believe there is someone still watching, I believe. Is there someone still watching? Let me see. Yeah, there is. Um so anyways, as we continue to monitor these strong storms, nothing severe yet. Or well, I shouldn't say yet because there has been, but nothing severe as of the moment. There hasn't been anything severe since a while ago. There is a potential, but it looks like it's quieting down here as we continue to move on into the night. As the sun goes down and we have I believe they did take down the tornado warning for western parts. Just, I believe I seen that right. Yeah, they did that a while ago. So, excuse me. I had a cough there. But, anyways, let us see what we can do with this stream. And if there is, I think there is someone still watching. If you are still watching, then please send something in the chat or something. Just say hi or something. Because if there's nobody watching, I may end the stream here. But I'm fairly certain there is someone here, so I may keep going. But severe weather potential does continue. This mesoscale discussion here, although it's winding down as of now, there's nothing really big going on. Can't say for certain that anything is severe anymore. All this stuff is mainly just weaker stuff. It's still considered strong, but it's weaker, on the weaker side, because this is only for 40-mile-an-hour winds. There's nothing definitively on the strong side. So, anyways, as we continue our severe weather coverage, I see somebody join the stream. Thank you for joining. Please leave a like to push this video out to people who really need to see it, who are in the Louisiana area. So, I do see something interesting though. Something interesting is with this right here. This line, it's stayed relatively strong the entire time. So nothing severe, but definitely pretty strong. They just got the new radar scan in, and it is stronger on the stronger side. Nothing severe though. Like I said, we can see the warm front lifting off further to the north, and this will only allow storms to develop more as we move later on into the night, although they haven't really taken advantage of this yet because it hasn't moved far enough north. But I would say once it moves about this far north, then these storms can really start to get a hold of this moisture, then they'll start to really develop potential for even some supercells. Um, but those would be mostly discrete and ahead of the line. And I don't know that we really see any discrete ahead of line cells right now. Nothing definitively strong, or, well, there is some, but nothing definitively severe, like definitely severe. Because if we did have something definitely severe, I'd be focusing more of my time on that, but we don't really have anything going on right now. So areas towards Galveston, they do have this risk right here. If this is able to take a hold of the moisture, then this would get going here. If that would be able to take advantage of the Gulf moisture coming right off the Gulf here. The Gulf moisture is really what's feeding the system. It's really what's key. So as long as this warm front stays, and as long as this warm front keeps shifting north, the storms are going to continue to develop to their strong and severe status. And if the warm front does manage to lift all the way up here, then we could definitely see a massive warm sector with some severe storms, potential for some supercells if the warm front does lift up far enough. Now, there is a potential for some severe weather as well in these areas, but it's just a very slim area. Nothing has been able to get going here. Nothing has been able to really take advantage, because all these storms that are forming over here, which seems to be the prime area of development as of now because of this initiating boundary of the cold front, it's not really been able to move far enough into this moisture to really get going. It's been all going up into this line because of how far westward it's been staying. And as long as it stays into this line, the tornado threat should be lower on the lower side. Now, I say on the lower side because of the fact that we did manage to see a tornado warning while I was on stream. So definitely something to keep an eye on. But as long as the storms keep moving along this line here, as you can see, it just shifted and everything's moving off to the northeast on this line. As long as it's not able to get free, or none of these storms are able to take advantage of the abundant moisture down here, we're going to continue to see lower tornado risk, although not a zero tornado risk. We do see these strong storms starting to diminish, though. Although they are actually, the southern parts are actually starting to get their act together, though. The northern parts are starting to diminish because, as you can see, 58 degrees, 60 degrees. Although out ahead here, there is 69, 72. So I believe that as these storms move eastward, as they continue to develop eastward, then these storms could have the potential to become severe again and potentially even be tornadic again. And as you can see, this storm has a bow echo, not a bow echo, but kind of a little bow here. For a bow echo, it would probably need to be more intense than this, but it still does have some pretty intense wind. As you can see, a defined area of this wind flow. And this the has cams, it's there's no has cams in this pass, so we can't say that right at this moment this area is experiencing intense winds, but it's a pretty good guess that they will be, according to the Weather Service. Those 50-mile-an-hour winds here, 40-mile-an-hour winds actually. So some of these storms were able to get their act together, and they were. As long as these storms stay south of the warm front, they will continue to get stronger. But if these storms continue to stay north of the warm front, like move north, and then they still keep moving east, and no new storms come up and bring moisture up that way, then I believe that it would start to fizzle out. But then as it hits this area of temperatures like 72 degrees, it would start to re-strengthen. And now one thing to watch out for is when it hits the area around the, let's see, this is the Mississippi border. once it hits the Mississippi-Louisiana border area, about the St. Joseph and, let's see, Vidalia area along the border here, then I believe that would continue to strengthen these storms. Although there is a dry line there that could keep some storms from developing east of it, as you can see. Now, the reason I'm coming up here is to show you something. That dry line, earlier that dry line was all the way up here, and it was keeping storms confined to west of this area. Now, eventually those storms did be able to break past the area that I said, but as of now, the storms are not toward the south. They're not able to break free of the confines of the dry line. Nothing too interesting going on. I may end the stream if these storms don't get severe. So every time I say I'm gonna end the stream, the storms get just severe enough to warrant my attention, and then they drop back down. And then whenever I say I'm gonna again, then they get back above that level. But I think soon I'm probably gonna head to bed, but because 10 o'clock is when I have to go to bed. But so I'm going to continue to post updates on my channel, but I may not go live again tonight because that would be a while, and I would probably be up past 10 then, and so I don't want to really do that because it's just my bedtime. But I may continue to post if I'm allowed to, but I don't know if I'm going to be allowed to stay up past then because we don't have school tomorrow because it's Thanksgiving week. But in this next scan, if nothing becomes attention worthy, I am probably going to stop the stream if nothing becomes attention worthy within the next scan here. Or if I don't see anything attention worthy here, nothing really warranting my attention as of now. Move to this radar site here. This mesoscale discussion, I'm not sure how much it's calling for, like, as a potential, or like why it's there, because even if it does re-strengthen, there may not be that much. I mean, these storms are moving into the mesoscale discussion area, so they're starting to move towards that way. So as they move, if they start to strengthen, I'm going to continue to keep an eye on this. So if you're continuing to watching, if you would just give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Okay. So, anyways, continuing the severe weather coverage. So, I do see somebody is watching, so I'm going to continue the coverage. I don't see really much. Okay, the next scan, if there's nothing here, then I may just stop the stream. Okay, even the area that we were watching, the area that was very severe at one point, is now died out. I don't see much going on there. And then the area that did have the tornado warning, nothing really happened to it. It just kind of fizzled out. So I think I'm going to end the stream there. Thank you all for joining in, and I will see y'all next time.